Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode number 205. We are discussing the last 5 episodes of Changeman, the final Showa era Super Sentai series to discuss. I will be doing a follow-up video of this one discussing my final thoughts on the entire Showa era because I have now covered the whole thing now. Yep. Let's get started with talking about these 5 episodes. We are continuing the last 5 of the 8-episode endgame arc. Okay, fun fact about episode 51. It was actually supposed to be the final episode of the series. Yes, it was originally planned to be one, from what I read, but due to Flashman being delayed, they decided to give it 4 more episodes. Which, yeah, I think that was a good idea to do. 51 basically deals with the fate of Gator, where basically his wife, she basically, her belly was like in pain. It turns out she was pregnant. And at the end of the episode, she gives birth to her second child, a girl. And of course, the whole thing about this one was eggs and offspring. And creating, now, 51 also noteworthy for being the final appearance of the second half of that creature that Queen Amas had been writing. Because the previous half was destroyed last episode. This one destroyed the fire half. Yeah, this episode basically destroys that character. And, excuse me, and here's the strange thing about it. The very next episode features the last ever Space Beast warrior in the entire series, because the last 2 episodes afterwards have pretty much like 2 of the characters, like, well, in the case of 52, that features the last one they had. Well, in the case 53 and 54, have 2 of the characters turn into them and basically dealing with the Space King. I'll get to him soon. So, he of course goes nuts because he finds out that his wife's expecting their child. So he proceeds to turn on the Gorzma and turn out and join up with the Changeman. And of course, after he destroys the eggs, he proceeds to rush over to the church because Nana had found out that she was expecting. Of course, she had found out because she was walking about. She's no longer a student at this point. By the way, she's actually in all 5 remaining episodes of this whole series, which is quite strange. Yeah, she's back here, and she's basically here just for the remainder of the series. So yeah, Gator basically goes to find out his wife's expecting, and despite all the destruction, they're basically able to find him, no problem. And of course, his wife has successfully given birth to a girl, and he's so happy. And he's pretty much on the side of the Changeman from this point forward up until the end of the series. The very next episode deals with Boba and Shima. Yep, their fates. Where we have Dorza, where he is the final official monster of the entire series. Well, the one that's actually brought in. And then they had the last 2 just having the last 2 generals just turn into monsters. Because. So, yeah, and Shima, of course, basically, the whole thing is about sacrificing her in order to basically defeat the Changeman. But she doesn't want to. Nana basically gets to her, and then, of course, Burzo basically slices her up with his sword, his life sword. And she appears to die, and of course, Burzo himself basically dies fighting Change Dragon in his final battle of the whole series. Yeah, he's actually the first major bad guy to actually die. Yep, and then Shima. Here's the thing about her. Well, thanks to basically being reborn, she's free from the control of the Gorzma, and she's able to speak with her real voice. Not the man's voice she's had since episode 1, a real voice. Yeah, it's the actress who plays her, it's her natural voice. And, well, with her basically free from the Gorzma, she joins up with the Changeman as their new ally. And then basically, okay, so she's defected. And of course, well, Queen Almas is next, and she's forced turned to a space beast, which of course she doesn't like very much. Then she proceeds to using it to find the Changeman's base. Yes. And then she proceeds to, while Maze is fighting the Changeman, there's also in this episode when she gets to the entrance. Get this. It is found out that the chief of the Changeman is an alien. He's a heathen. Yep. I'm like, okay, I love the suit that the guy is in. It looks fantastic. Yeah, it looks really good. It's quite something, though. Like, okay, that could explain why the fact that he knows all of this about these other alien species, because he's an alien. And the thing is, nobody has a problem with this. They're perfectly sick as how go. I'm interested. I wonder how the rest of the Earth Defense Force feels about the fact that he actually is an alien. Yeah. So, and of course, everybody's and of course, Amos really wants her planet to be restored. So she proceeds to single-handedly just like go out and go off to the Changeman base. So the chief, because they also have planned to take the change to take the aliens back home. So he proceeds to contact base while she's on the way there to evacuate to the shuttle base. Everybody, all personnel to the shuttle base. I'm like, smart idea. Evacuate to security. I'm sure that they can actually hold all those people. Apparently it did. And some people were lost. Some of the regular soldiers were lost. But all the regular personnel have evacuated no problem. And the base itself is destroyed by Almas herself. But we still have the shuttle base. Yep, we have the shuttle base. And then she dies with the destruction of the base. Maze herself is destroyed by the Change Turbo. And everybody think, okay, so she's gone. Alma and Shema and Gator are defected. Boris is dead. So, just the Planet King and Guza. Yep, they're the only ones left. So, he proceeds to bring the spaceship, which, by the way, episode 54, he brings the spaceship after it's been in the same spot. Yes, the same exact spot, orbiting Earth since episode 1. Yes. 53 episodes later, the thing finally moves. And it attacks some planet. He goes crazy. He forms a monster form. And eventually he's destroyed by the end of the episode. And of course, they find out the truth behind the Planet King. Where the Chief, Nana, and Gator basically break into the ship with Shima. And they look around. And they find his secret. The Space King is an actual planet. Yes, they do. And apparently they found out his final plan to use Halley's Comet, which, by the way, is a real comet, used as a shield to allow this other planet, which is referred to as the planet for the next episode, to smash into the Earth to destroy it. That is his plan. Interesting. So, then, of course, basically, the ship goes back into space. And, of course, after it gets fixed, and it goes off into space, retrieves the Chief, Shima, Gator, Nana, even the creature who makes things go big. It retrieves him too because he just left there. He has nothing really much to do. And this creature's only job is make things grow. That's it. So they take him along with them, which is interesting. Yeah, and the fact he's squeezing the spaceship, and then of course they actually find the actual planet, the true form of Star King Base. By the way, when they're on the Gorza, they actually see the creature. They actually see him for the first time. Which I'm like, really? We wait into the final episode for him to. By the way, I almost forgot to mention this too. The Red Ranger is something that happened also in. I see it's also in Gogo 5. This also happened in. It was Gogo 5 and Live Man, where he stabs Gog in the chest. Yep, he sneaks on board the Gorza, and he's right behind it. He sees over, of course, a reflection on the console, and then stab right in the frickin' chest. I'm like, wow. Well, last time Red Ranger SL Ranger 2, that it was the main bad guy, not the main general, which I handed to the Change Dragon. That's sheer balls to stab him on the frickin' chest. And that proved to be his downfall. That wound that he has sustained. But back to the Planet King. Of course, they actually kind of go to the planet. Of course, they fight his Hydra monsters. And then the Chief tries to fight Borza himself. Which turns out the one we've been seeing the whole time is nothing more than a hologram. Really? A hologram since episode 1. So this torseless giant creature is a hologram. And then, of course, we need to go inside the planet itself, which looks like basically a studio set covered in bubble wrap. I'm not kidding about that. The interior of this planet is very cheap. Yeah, because the outside looks like it's from an actual desert from Earth. Though, like, you could easily just pull off something to play. But the interior, that's clearly a studio set. And the digestive system, it's freaking bubble wrap. Anybody could see that, and then eventually they would get out of it thanks to having, oh look, it's a memory doll, which the chief actually destroyed. So we have one last time Garuk using his ability to make things go big, and of course the memory doll is destroyed, which that memory doll returned thanks to also Sakura return first time since like episode 18. Yeah, that was the last thing that she was seen. Then of course basically like they have to get out of there, and of course they use the change robot to basically destroy the plane from the inside, which that's quite ballsy. And then since that creature is defeated, since the Star King is gone, the Gorge is gone, the spaceship is gone, so the chief elects to leave Earth with Shuttle Base. Presumably Change Robot was on board, and he takes all the alien allies home and start rebuilding the universe. Okay, and then the Change can walk off without their... Oh, and I think also, presumably when the base is destroyed, that their motorcycles and the Jeep is presumably destroyed too. So you're probably thinking, okay, the base is destroyed, the Change Robot was left Earth, so what exactly are they going to do? And if you're curious, though, does the Earth Defense Force ever get mentioned in Flashman? Nope, never does. As a matter of fact, Earth Defense Force is never mentioned ever again in the history of Super Sentai. Well, not that I've seen. Because the next, two teams are not government-sponsored teams. I think Changeman is... Well, let me get my final thoughts here. Changeman, I believe, is the final government-sponsored team for a while until Jetman. That was the next one that was government-sponsored because Flashman, that was basically kids who were kidnapped by aliens. Live Man was self-financed. I'm not sure about Turbo Ranger. From what I read online, it looked like it was not government-sponsored. 5-Man, kind of the same thing too. Jetman was the first one since this one was actually government-sponsored. But after Jetman, the next thing that was government-sponsored was O-Ranger, and there was also Mega Ranger too. So not many per se. It's not exactly a very common thread we see in Sentai very much. Or usually it's a government-sponsored team. Yes. But in the case of Changeman overall, I mean, the Changemen themselves are fine for what they are, except the problem is they don't really develop very much over the course of these 55 episodes. The Chief seems like all his development was done in the last few episodes, when they figure, oh yeah, he's an alien, and the fact he actually does some fighting and has been the whole time being at base. Okay. It's interesting that like Nana, yeah, she was a very interesting character. It's like after her debut, a 2-part debut, she returns later on for episode 32, 33, and after that she disappears for a little while. It pops up like episode 40-ish. Yeah, it pops up occasionally. She's probably by far the most recurring alien ally of the whole entire series. And I think when she returned to episode 51, she was there from that point forward until the finale. Mm-hmm. Yes, Gator, interesting character he is. He's also the first bad guy to actually, one of those very few bad guys to turn good because he has a family. Shima was simply brainwashed, and if you think about it, only they were the only two not killed by the Rangers because they defected. The other ones, well, Borza basically sacrificed them in order to basically Shima be freed. The other two, well, Amos was killed with the base explosion, while the other two were killed by the change robot. Yep. But despite its length, it's a really good series. Fantastic cam work. The only problem is basically the space plane. The space plane is really good. The whole series, and then you get to the final episode. It's almost like they ran out of money with this episode. Yeah, that's what it seems like. It seems like they ran out of money. It's like they had to end it at this point in time because the planet itself looks okay. The interior looks freaking awful. Bubble wrap, and it looks so obvious. It's basically it's a set, so obvious. Yep, and also I believe this will be the now the one thing I particularly didn't like about the Ranger suits from the start of it, and I still have to do so now, is that they feel as though that they are a redress of the Bioman suits. Yeah, that's simply what they are. They're just redressed the Bioman suits. Heck, the exterior of one of the Zords, I think it was for the change railroad drives, it's It's a redress of the cockpit for Bio Robo, the first one, anyways. And this also is the first one since, I'd say, Dynaman to be a 3-part Megazord. Yep, first one since that one to do that. And of course, the Megazord itself is a redress of the Sun Robo. Yep. But yeah, that's particular view. Next up, my final thoughts on the Showa era for Super Sentai. Okay, next video.